I swear, I can't be the only person who's ever fantasized what it'd be like to have their own private streaming service, one filled with only content they want to watch. While I can't produce all my own content, what I can do is at least serve up the content I already own that I can just access anywhere through a web browser, and it's even encrypted. This is completely absurd because you don't need to go this length. There's other open source projects, but it just goes to show you how much you can do just in your own time if you just want to take back a little bit of control of your digital life. Normally for a project like this, I'd reach for something like a Raspberry Pi 5, but this is too much of an ask for most tiny Linux SoCs. Since I'm a hobbyist YouTuber with a real job, I don't really have time to do sponsored content, nor do I want to, so the only time I work with companies is if they're willing to collaborate and just let me do cool projects, and Beelink is one of those companies. I was lucky enough to be sent a Beelink EQi 13 Pro, and this is pretty much the ideal computer for a project like this. It's an Intel 13500H, a 13th gen SoC with 32GB of DDR4 and a 1TB SSD. This is a computer that's designed to be lower power and quiet, as the low base clock speed of 1.4 GHz means that I'll idle for about 10 watts of power but can ramp up to 4.9 GHz where I'll top out around 75 watts. Or at least that's what it did when I was trying to stress test it running Cinebench. In a very quick gaming test with Red Dead Redemption 2, it was closer to 60 watts and the fans rarely revved up compared to other mini PCs that I've used, like my 12th gen Geekom mini PC. I'm not going to bog down this video with benchmarks because it's not what this video is about. The Intel Iris Z or XZ GPU, I never know how it's said, is pretty uninspired when it comes to gaming, but it does excel in exactly what I needed to do, and that is snorf video. That is a highly technical term that I may have just made up on the spot. It might come as a shock, but it does have enough GPU power to transcode 4K HDR 10-bit to H.264 and H.265, currently the most popular video codecs. In fact, it can handle multiple streams as the Intel Iris Z or XZ, whichever it is, has multiple MFX video engines. It should be able to transcode beyond just 2 at a time, but multiple. This makes this low quiet Beelink PC ideal for this project and also media PC functionality. This computer, of course, comes pre-installed with Windows 11, but I don't want Windows 11 because I'm making a server, so I'm going to install the most normie version of Linux because I'm a normie level Linux user and I'll use Ubuntu. In a previous video tutorial I made about how to remove the DRM off an Audible library, which is surprisingly easy, I went off the deep end and wrote a file sharing web app that I hosted on a Raspberry Pi 4. It's a straightforward PHP app that I wrote so my family could easily grab my audiobooks in a web browser and download them directly to their phones. I may have gotten a little carried away as I added a bit of encryption and Cloudflare tunneling. This little web app has been operating quietly for quite some time, and I've made a few minor updates to it to improve security, but that's about it. You can find this project on GitHub, linked in the description. I have been running this web app for quite a while now, but I think it's finally time I turn it into a proper streaming service. I've been doing YouTube long enough to know that people who aren't programmers or software developers really don't seem to care about the details of programming or software development. So I'm just going to buzz through at a high level what it takes to make this all go. Almost my entire video collection is in MKV, a video container format that can contain multiple types of video and audio and subtitles in one neat file. The problem is, web browsers do not support MKVs, so they need to be converted into a format that a web browser can understand. Web browsers do support multiple video and audio codecs, but they also support a special format called HLS, which stands for HTTP Live Streaming. Sorry, that last part is true except for Firefox, but there is a fallback. The way that streaming services work is they convert all their uploaded video into formats that browsers support at different resolutions, codecs, bit rates, and they use various versions of these depending on a lot of factors. Considerations like bandwidth, device support, network congestion, and so on. However, we don't want to convert all our movies into other formats ahead of time, as that would take up a lot of storage. So instead, we are going to use real-time encoding, which is what HLS is for, aka converting it into real time only as we need it. Popular home media servers like Plex and Jellyfin have the option of extracting out the video of a MKV through the process known as remuxing. That is only if the browser supports the format, or it can use HLS if they don't. There's a tool that we can use that makes all of this feasible, a very popular open source video encoder called FFmpeg, which offers hardware acceleration and is the backbone of popular video encoders and transcoders. If you've used Handbrake, you've used FFmpeg. Since I've already written a simple web app that lets a user log in, browse, and download files, the only thing I really need to do is have an option that will trigger FFmpeg and convert a movie into HLS and stream it into a simple web video player that can display said movie. While the movie is being watched, the server keeps converting the video. The converted chunks of video are temporarily saved so you can rewind and come back later. This is approximately how popular streaming apps like Plex and Jellyfin operate.
Getting pretty close to having this done. It's starting to initiate the streaming, but I'm just not an FFmpeg guy, so I'm going to see if I can really get through this.
Holy crap, guys. So this is actually working. There's a few errors here, but right now I'm playing streaming a MKV, so it has to convert because MKVs are not supported directly by the browser. So what you're seeing on screen right here is literally just the movie being played through Intel QuickSync and streaming into a web browser. So I have now effectively built a streaming service.
What you see on screen is now the second time that I got this whole project to work. That's all thanks to this little guy. This little guy right here died halfway through coding the project out, and I had committed my changes to it, but they weren't done, so I had not pushed it to the cloud. The upside, though, is I made the hardware acceleration more intelligent because it'll auto-detect between NVIDIA, AMD, and Intel hardware, or you can set it manually. Alright, this is going to look a little choppy because this is using an HDMI capture device to display this on screen. And over here is another video. Both are transcoding in real time, demonstrating that I'm able to convert videos using the same server for multiple streams.
Even better, this works great on my iPhone and it doesn't even require an app. There is a little bit of a delay the first time you watch a movie. That is because the server needs to buffer the movie. At my current settings, this is streaming 720p at 2 megabits per second, or that comes out to be roughly 900 megabytes an hour.
Now that this is all working, let's take a look at it in action. Here's my PHP file browser. All it's doing is reading directories off a computer and translating them into a web page. I click View. This brings up our player. If I click play, it'll start the HLS stream. And the HLS stream is started through a process that's managed by the operating system, kicked over to FFmpeg. FFmpeg converts it into HLS files. The HLS files are served to the web browser. The web browser doesn't support HLS. It will then use a JavaScript fallback, so that way it can still support the video. I'm going to turn off the volume so we don't get copyright struck and jump ahead. This video's already been transcoded, so there's no delay, but these 6-second chunks of video are stacked up and served in sequential order as you need them. So there's a delay for clicking start, but because it's only 6-second chunks, it's never that long. Inevitably, what will happen is someone will not finish watching a movie in a single sitting. So to account for this, I made smart caching. What will happen is the last time you watch a movie, it will start a cooldown timer for 24 hours. This can be adjusted, but that's what I landed on. So if I start watching a movie, stop it, and come back within 24 hours, it'll hold on to those files for another 24 hours. And that keeps happening as long as users keep accessing it. And it's just not just one user, but any user accesses them. This is by no means feature complete because right now it only serves up 720p video at 2 megabits per second. I did this because I didn't want to overcomplicate things, but I could add in different resolution support and different bit rates into the player and allow for different levels of transcodes.
So you're probably wondering, why go through all this trouble? Just use Plex or maybe even Jellyfin. Well, first, Plex costs money, and secondly, my file server solution works with any type of file. I can share movies, audiobooks, photos, and even my emulation collection through this file server. The third reason, which is probably the most interesting, is total ownership and privacy. I'm not having my metadata scanned and uploaded somewhere. There isn't a cloud component that needs to be synced. There's not even third-party apps that need to be maintained. It is completely owned by myself, and there's not even a database that could be compromised. So I can just add in new features as I see fit. And for the final reason why I did this is for the love of the game. I just wanted to challenge myself as a programmer to see if I could pull this off, because I've always been kind of a front-end guy making the pretty stuff and not the back-end services. You know what? It wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be. I'm going to let everyone in on a little dirty secret, one that's probably going to upset a few people, but please hear me out because I think you'll agree with me by the end of this. AI makes this a lot easier to do, especially if you're just only code curious. You could just pull this, fork it, and then add your own features to this project, or you could even use AI to help you configure this on a computer you already own. AI is a tool, one that should be viewed with skepticism but has utility. While I don't trust LLMs for many if not most tasks in my life, the reason they do work so well for development is that linters, testing frameworks, runtimes, compilers, and so on all act as fact checkers. With the right mindset, you can leverage these tools to fight back against endless subscriptions, create niche applications, and be more freeform with the technology you already have. The Beelink mini PC is a fantastic computer, in fact is fairly ideal for what I'm using it for. That said, you could run my software on a lot of older computers, provided they have hardware encoding. To bring this back to AI, there are a lot of obvious moral issues that aren't in the scope of this video. But this genie is not going back in the bottle, so the best thing you can do is use it to maybe fight the man and damn the man as much as you can. Own your own digital life. I think I've hit a natural stopping point for this project. Eventually, I want to Dockerize it. That'll be on my GitHub. And for those who don't know what Docker is, it'd make the setup of this a hell of a lot easier.
Again, I want to thank Beelink for sending me this mini PC. It makes for a phenomenal media PC, and they make other mini PCs and Mac accessories. I'm not getting commissions, but if you're curious, go check them out. There's a link in the description.
As always, thanks to my Patreons, and thanks for watching.